Well, welcome in once again, everybody, to another, what promises to be another great edition of the 19th Hole podcast for golfers right here on Facebook Live and other platforms that you might be catching us on. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, and we've got another great show for you today. We have a terrific guest for you that I'm sure you're going to find very, very interesting when you get them up on camera in just a couple of minutes. Hope you're out playing some golf, whatever part of the country you're in. The weather here in Las Vegas is getting a little bit better. It's getting a little bit warmer, and the winds are kind of dying down. This has been an exceptionally cool winter for us, but after all, it is the beginning of February. March, I'm sure, is going to start producing some warmer temperatures. But the problem here in Las Vegas, in southern Nevada, when you get to springtime, it starts to get windy. And we've had a northerly wind, which is not great, but sometimes in spring we get southerly winds, which is a hell of a lot warmer and it's a lot easier to play with. But as far as I know, I'm a hot weather guy. I am ready for summer tomorrow. But anyway, we hope you're working on your game and enjoying things, watching some golf on TV. We got the Waste Management starting in Scottsdale, and that's always a great tournament. I have some friends that are down there, and it gets really, really crazy. They've got a good field, so it always ends up being a good tournament. Just returned from Orlando, as you know. Went down to the PGA Merchandise Show. Met my friend, my co-host on Senior Delinquents, Jamie McWilliams. We've got some great interviews that he did, and we're going to put those together for our show next week, and we got some really, really interesting people. It was a good show. I was glad to see a lot of people down there, after the last couple of years with COVID and all that stuff. A lot of vendors were down there, and it was nice to see some old friends, make some new friends, walk around, see what's going on in golf as far as new clubs, new ball technology, all of the accessories. I mean, everything. It was a lot of fun. So looking forward to the show next week. All right, let me tell you about our guest, who you may or may not be familiar with, Robin SYMES. Robin is originally from Northern Ireland, so he's got to be good friends with Rory McIlroy, right? We're going to ask him that. He's played competitive golf, both as an amateur and a professional. As an amateur, Robin won on all levels of competition, and notably helping Ireland win the European Team Championship, representing, of course, Great Britain and Ireland. After his amateur career, Robin played professionally in various mini tour events and also on the European Tour as well. Robin was the Ledbetter Director of Asia and coached many students of all levels while in Korea. We'll get into that a little bit. Robin moved to the United States and is located now at the Golf's on Ledbetter World Academy at Reunion, which is just outside of Orlando, Florida, where he oversees the operations of the academy in conjunction, of course, with David Ledbetter, and had the opportunity to go down there and spend some time with him and David when we were down at the PGA show at Reunion. He had a class going on with other teachers. It was a teaching summit, and got to see the facility, which is absolutely great. Had lunch down there and enjoyed meeting a lot of the teachers that were down there. So without further ado, let's bring Robin SYMES up on camera. And Robin, thanks for taking time out, my friend, and hanging out with us on the show.
Thanks, Dennis. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome. Let me start off and ask you this. Of all of the things in the world to do, Robin, what got you interested in golf?
Yeah, as you related to, I was growing up in Belfast, Northern Ireland, and I'll just put it down to my parents. I think I asked for a set of clubs one Christmas, and I think they saw it as a good way to make sure that I wasn't hanging around the streets. I think it was mainly because I was living about 200 yards away from a golf course, so I always saw it on the way to school and things like that, and just had an interest. They got me a set of clubs, and from that moment on, I was really hooked. So really all down to my parents, and yeah, they let me do what I wanted to do. And as I say, I think Belfast at the time was, although I never had any issues, it wasn't the greatest reputation, and they didn't want me
Yeah.
hanging around the streets. And they saw the golf course as a great place to be able to leave me off and know I know I was safe and in a good place with good people.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And and obviously you got the bug for the game. When did you start to realize, Robin, that I could be good at this game? I've got some potential and I want to pursue it.
Yeah, it's probably hard to put a finger on it. I mean, I think from day one, that first 9 holes, never hit a ball before and went straight to the golf course. And so, but I knew from that first 9 holes that I liked it. I
Yeah,
enjoyed golf. And uh, yeah, and I think there was a moment I might have been 12 or something. And
yeah,
yeah, I'd only started when I was 11. But I think I shot 3 over for 9 holes or something.
pretty good.
Um, which yeah, I think I thought, and then all the members of the golf club and that kind of stuff were saying, "Wow," and make you feel good.
Yeah,
And at that moment, I thought, "Well, I'm not bad at this game," and I was hooked on it,
yeah.
so kept going.
Well, and I wanted to ask you, have you run across in your travels with Rory? Because I know he's from Northern Ireland as well.
Yeah, yes. Basically, Rory, as everybody knows, is a member of a golf club in Belfast called Hollywood, which is about 5 minutes away from the golf course I was a member at, a place called Shandon Park, and we were sort of rival clubs. But Rory actually was a member of Shannon Park as well uh, for a period of time because we had a better short game facility. Hollywood had no short game facility, so Rory also joined our club. But I'm not sure if this story is 100% true. But I think we a member of our committee might have kicked him out or something like that because he'd done a 360 in a cart in the fairway or something, and one of the council members didn't like that, and I think Rory decided, well, I'll just go back to Hollywood. So that was a good
Oh
move
my
from one of our.
gosh, that
Um,
that's fun. I could I
but
could just
I knew Rory. He was the younger kid at the club, and I was the older, sort of more senior junior player.
uh-huh.
People would have known him better than me, and yeah, he might. I think he'd still, if you still mentioned to him, Robin, he would sort of remember. But I wasn't really close to him or anything like that. But we were on a driving range in the evening together, hitting balls down there at Blackwood. I remember, and he'd be the one guy, the little 12-year-old brat, coming up and telling me what I was doing wrong. Um, that's what I remember. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Did you ever
It was
guys
great. Yeah.
did you guys ever play golf together? Tee it up together?
You know what? He was like 12, and I was like 18, and no, we didn't play together. We practiced together a bit and hit balls in the driving range, but no, I didn't get a game with
Yeah.
Rory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been obviously cool. Robin, as a master instructor, I think you're the perfect guy to answer this question. Why do you think there have been so many swing theories that have come about over the last couple of decades, really all trying to accomplish the same thing, in my view, and that is to deliver the club head to the ball in a square manner? Why do you think all of these theories have come about?
Yeah, great. Very, very good question. I'm honestly not sure if golf tuition's in a really great place at the moment either. If I dived into that, um, reality is that most people playing golf are not satisfied, right? Of all
Right,
levels of the game,
right,
whether it's on tour, 9 out of 10 people who've played that week feel like they didn't achieve their potential,
right.
and And so that would be the same down to club level golf, where most people on a Saturday afternoon are not particularly happy the way they played. So uh, golfers are very susceptible to new ideas, because most people are not happy. So we're very weak. We're very, our skin is not thick. That when we see a new idea or a new theory, most people, those 9 out of 10 golfers, want to give it a try because it might be the answer.
Right.
So golfers, basically, I think that's the root cause. Golfers are very susceptible to new ideas. So golf coaches, and then as the business gets behind golf coaching, everybody wants to come up with their niche, their thing, their model, to try to appeal to those 9 out of 10 golfers, and then we get the waves, because then you'll
Right.
get those 9 out of 10 golfers jumping on the back of something
Yep.
for that period of time, and then we'll realize as a group that didn't. There's still 9 out of 10 golfers not happy with the game, and it'll be the next one.
Right.
So, yeah, and I don't think it's a great thing for the game, because, geez, when you look at what people are being taught in various places and what we're seeing on, the new instruction articles of the world and social media, we're seeing some very complex movements.
Yeah.
To fix
Yeah.
it, to fix a slice.
Oh, for
How about what the same way as it was 20 years ago? About just strengthening the grip. Do we really need to bow the wrist and
Yeah.
shallow the club and move in this
Yeah.
way?
No, 100%,
So, yeah.
100% right. Did you grow up employing a particular swing philosophy, or were you taught a particular swing philosophy?
No, not at all. I mean, I was taught, good basics was always just something to me as a kid. You got to have good basics, and then we played a lot, and I think that's. I mean, we're all proud where we came from, right? But I think there's something genuinely behind Northern Ireland. I mean, if you look at it, it's incredible. It's a population of 1 million people, and look at just major winners. We've had Graham McDowell, good old friend of mine, major winner. Darren Clark, major winner. We had somebody like Michael Hoy, who was my
Student.
Well, not yeah. He became a student, but we were kind of rivals at the same golf club for many years. But he won 5 times on the European Tour. Obviously, we got Rory now. I mean, it's incredible when you think from a population of 1 million people. It's ridiculous in a way. I just saw Tom McKibben. Tom McKibben's leading the DP world at the moment. I mean, Northern Ireland. It's why because we just got out on the golf course and played. We played in all weather conditions, and we were lucky. We had parkland courses, links courses, some of the best courses in the world, and we learned how to just play the game out there with good basics. But you just never see a video now on Instagram about good basics.
Right, that's true.
It almost doesn't exist, So I'm not quite sure if the coaching is in a great place.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and it's like something great is in the water in Northern Ireland, as it is in, South Africa for a while. It's just amazing the number of players come out, and I'll tell you, that's one of the reasons that I love talking to your boss, David Ledbetter, because he has a theory, and I'm sure you do too. Rather than just kind of put a Band-Aid on something, he goes after the root cause of the problem, so you don't have to fool with it again. And I really enjoy talking to people like him, about that. So anyway, we're going to step away, Robin, for our first short break. Stay with us, and when we do come back, we're going to have a lot more with our guest, Robin Symes. Stay with us. We return right after this.
Are you an E or a C?
Both have Ridgeback.
These are loaded with tech.
Which one are you gaming? Definitely E for me.
It's just so forgiving.
I'm definitely an E.
C is for Cheka. What else?
C is for kill it.
C is me. Low spinning bombs.
So, are you an E or a C?
I don't know. Hey, wait a minute.
pound for pound, nothing comes close.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I told you we would not be too long, having a great conversation with our guest on the show today, Robin SYMES, who's a master tour instructor, former European tour player, and a whole lot more. And Robin, there's a saying that's been around in golf for a long time. I'm sure you heard it, and that is just play your game. You alluded to it a little while ago, but why do you think the majorities of weekend amateurs don't do that?
Yeah, it's a tricky game, golf, right? Because in most other sports, whatever the act is in the sport, you cannot do the same as an Olympic athlete. So if you're throwing a javelin, we can't throw it the same as an Olympic athlete. In golf, for that split moment, every one of us can hit a shot which is as good as Tiger Woods for a moment, whether it's a chip shot, whether it's a putt. We've all made a birdie, so we can all do what we see on TV for that split moment, a moment in our life,
right?
Which we've basically gives us a false sense of where we are in the game. So we're constantly trying to probably play outside our ability level, whereas in other sports we don't do that. It's a sort of given that you can't do the same thing as somebody's doing that all day, every day. It's also, it's an easy thing to say. It's just play your game, but if you hit it out of bounds the first 3 holes, it's very hard just to keep doing the same thing in the 4th hole. So then you're going to try something, right? It's a never ending question and task, and finding the balance. That's that word everybody hates, but you're finding a balance between playing your game and trying to get better, and then trying to understand what you need to work on and what you need to forget about, and it's one nobody's mastered yet, right? It's that ever ending thing that we don't. Someday I've had tour pros win a tournament, and I say to them after the tournament, what did you think about it? And they said, well, in practice round, I just decided to forget about everything, and I won the tournament. Great. They won another tournament 6 weeks later or 6 months later, and you ask them, what did you think about it? And they said, well, in the practice round, I kind of remember that move away tip you give me, and I was trying to feel the club head more in front of me and open the club face a little bit. I thought about that, and I played great. So the same person 6 months apart has won a tournament by not thinking about something, and then 6 months later, thinking about something made them play their best. So
that's a good point. Great point.
It's not a set thing, and that's what we're just trying to. That's why it's a moving target, week to week as an amateur player or as a professional player.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I tell people that are starting the game, I said, look, this is a hard damn game. You're never going to master it. You're going to get frustrated, aggravated, neurotic like the rest of us. You'll have good days, you'll have bad days, but that's what the game is all about, and that's why it is so terrific. Just on a personal note, Robin, can you recall the best shot you've ever hit in competition, or the best tournament you've played in?
Oof. I honestly go back to my amateur days. This best shot. It's hard to describe it to the audience, but I remember I hit a 4-iron one day, and the ball came off the club face. It was a blind shot, actually. I knew where the hole was, but it came off the club face, and I actually said to my playing partners, "That's the best shot I've ever hit." And I walked up, and it was in the hole. But I actually said, as the ball was in the air, "That's the best shot I've ever hit."
Yeah.
So that was a weird one. It's obviously sticks in the mind. And I remember, hole par 5, making a wedge and playing for Ireland. I holed a wedge in the last hole to win the match by. We were all squad playing the last and hold a wedge in front of everything. So that stuck in my mind. But yeah,
That's great.
those are good moments.
That's great. Robin, tell me if you agree or disagree with this, what I'm about to say. It's my opinion that most weekend amateurs don't really care or work at having a good mental game. It isn't sexy to them. And if they did have a good mental game, how many shots do you think they would save in a round?
Oh, yeah.
That's a good question, isn't it?
The detailed answer behind that is some people pick a club up for the first time and got a fairly good technique and hit the ball well. And they don't need to work too much on their technique to be able to hit good shots. Other people pick a club up for the first time and don't have a good technique, and they need to work a little harder at it to get the club in a position to hit a decent shot. And it's the same with mental game. Some people are naturally very, very good mentally. And in fact, sort of tinkering with that sometimes makes them worse. They just naturally are good mentally. And some other people are horrible mentally, right? And they need to work at it. Most of us need to work at it a little bit. And my advice would be, there's so many aspects behind a good mental game, but I think the post-shot routine is the area where most people could gain some shots. What happened after you've hit the shot?
Right.
Not so much before. Of course, there's the before the shot too, but how you react to shots and then how you move on to the next shot is probably the area that most of us could save shots.
Yeah.
Being able to accept, move on. Whether you have a moment where you get a little bit frustrated for a few moments or not, that's okay. But being able to move on and play, the old sayings are the best ones. Play that one shot at a time. People don't say that anymore because it's been said too much. You try to say something new, but actually, it's the best. It's the best expression in golf. If you can literally play one shot at a time and actually think what those words mean,
right,
for a moment, then we will all walk off the golf course with a better score. Some people might be one shot better because they're pretty good mentally, and some people could be 6 or 7 shots better. But it's the post-shot routine, playing that one shot, moving on, playing another shot, moving on, playing another shot. Yeah.
I think that's great advice, and of course you got a terrific guy there that and Dr. Bob Winters, Dr. Bob as his close and intimate friends call him, and I've had him on the show numerous times, and he's got great information, and I'm sure you've gotten to know him pretty well, and he really has some good stuff, which brings me to this, and you put it in my head. On the tour level, such as you were, obviously all of these guys are pretty damn good players. They know the importance of a good mental game, but why do you feel some have better course management than others? You would think at that level they've all got great course management, but they're not a Nicklaus, they're not a Tiger, they're not somebody. Why do you think there's a disparity there?
I'm not sure if this will answer your question, but having spent a lot of time in Korea, and then clearly with Korea, spent a lot of time in the ladies' game. Ladies have better course management than men in general, and I always trying to work out that myself. And they basically don't have the ego of a guy in general. They accept what they can and can't do a lot better. You never see a lady in the trees trying to hit some miraculous shot that's going to come off once and 10 times.
Yeah.
They accept that I'm only going to do this once and 10 times and I'll chip it out. Whereas a guy will walk down there and think that that's going to be this 1 in 10 times and try to hit that TV shot.
Right.
So ladies are just just fantastic at managing their way around the golf course, and that's what we need to. If us guys could learn that, we would all walk off the golf course with a lower shot or lower handicaps. It's basically, if we're selecting a shot that we can't do at least 7 out of 10 times, we're selecting the wrong shot.
Right.
So if we're hitting a driver for toe that we would only put it on the fairway 5 out of 10 times, the driver's not the right club.
Right.
And it's kind of as simple as that. Ladies do that really, really well. Guys don't. And that's why we see a lot more up and down on our scores than we do in the ladies game. Now, clearly, when you go to the professional level, the guys have been around a lot longer. They've kind of worked that out. They've got great caddies,
Right.
Which really do make a difference to their scores. But if you take it away from that top level, we've got to emulate what the ladies are doing. As somebody said to me once, it's no problem hitting it in trouble once. It's the problem is hitting it from trouble to trouble. Right?
Yeah.
So make sure when you're in trouble, you get back out of trouble.
Right.
And yeah, that's what us guys or the weekend golfers need to do better.
Yeah, exactly. Before we take our next break, I want to ask you this, and I've talked about this for a while. For the longest time, Rob, in years back, the American players dominated on the LPGA Tour. That ain't happening anymore, and I can't foresee the American players ever dominating again on the LPGA Tour compared to the Asian players. The Koreans are just fantastic. Do you think they'll keep that, or do you think the Americans have a chance to dominate again?
Oof, yeah, it'll be really hard. That'll be a steep slope to climb up to get back. There's no question. I mean, it probably won't come from something different happening in America. It'll probably happen more from a change in the way things are happening in Asia. Right now, and certainly since the Siri Pack started it all off in Korea.
Yep.
A lot of basically there's a lot of junior players. So if you go to a junior tournament in Korea, there could be, not exaggerating, the first tournament of the year there down in Jeju Island, there could be 900 juniors playing in a tournament.
Wow.
And with cut scores to make the cut, you're having to shoot 1, 2, 3 under par to make the cut as a junior. And so you get 900 golfers, which out of that 800 are taking the game seriously.
Yeah.
It's not just play once every few weeks type thing.
Yeah.
So that's just hard to compete with. It's a numbers game. I think if I'm being really honest, I don't. If you pound for pound, I don't think the Koreans or Asians are better than the Americans or Europeans. It's just a numbers game. There's more of them doing it.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's why it's going to be hard, a steep slope for Americans, Europeans to sort of climb back up again. If for whatever reason the culture changes in Korea and parents move more in the direction of a different sport or something, that might change and there has been a little bit of reduction in the last few years of junior golf in Korea. That wave coming through is probably softened now. So we might see a slight change in the next 5 or 10 years, but there's still a lot of players playing seriously.
Oh yeah, and I just think they've got a little bit more fire in the belly right now. They practice maybe a little bit more, and so on. We'll see how that works out though. And as you mentioned, you have worked with some very notable tour players on the PGA Tour, the LPGA Tour, the European Tour. What's the one thing you could tell us, Robin, that they all have in common?
Oh, yeah. You ask them difficult questions.
Well, I'm not going to make it easy for you. I told you that.
Yeah. It's always picking that one thing, which is a real challenge. I think mentally they have this ability to not worry what other people think. and maybe I'm bringing that back to why maybe I didn't become a player, because I was always worrying about what other people think. So that's what I see in those players. I didn't see in myself. Uh, they have, it's almost like they're oblivious to what's going on around them when they're on the first hole, or they're on the last hole, or they're in the practice area, or they go to the local club. They have this ability, whether it's Rory or any of the LPGA girls or anything. You just see them, and they care what they care what other people think, and they care for other people.
Sure.
But when they're on that first hole, it's like they're in their own world. They have no idea how many people are watching them, and who's watching them, and what people are thinking about them, and what people are thinking how their practice looks.
Right.
Whereas most people do.
Right.
Most people can see the faces and the eyes of everybody who's watching them, and if somebody says your club face is a bit shut at the top of your backswing, it bothers them. That's my take on what they have, what's different about them. They say they're oblivious to that. It's like they're in a bubble, and it's a sort of natural ability. They haven't been taught it, and it's what gives them a chance. If you're not like that, it's a very difficult place to be.
Yeah,
if you're not like that,
they're kind of in the zone, as they say, and that you're right. That's exactly where they've got to be. Robin, stay with us. We're going to step away again, take another short break. We come back, we will finish up the show with Robin SYMES. Back right at you. One of the perks about being in golf media is that I get to try every club ever made. Of course, like most things, some are better than others. I'm here to tell you that I have found unquestionably the absolute best performing set of irons I have ever played, and my scores show it. Let me introduce you to Grindworks, custom fitted irons that are made to fit your game. Grindworks offers players 3 different styles of irons. You can choose muscleback irons, cavity back irons, and even blades, along with some awesome wedges. And when you purchase your clubs, Grindworks lets you choose the type of shaft you want, the type grip you prefer, and even will adjust the loft and lie of your clubs if needed. That's unheard of. So what are you waiting for? Feel the power and experience and performance of these amazing clubs. Simply go to grindworksusa.com or call 281-651-4046 to order. Trust me, your handicap will love you for it.
As golfers, we want instant gratification when it comes to a better golf swing and playing better golf. Impossible, you say? Not anymore. Golf Boost Artificial Intelligence, AI, has developed and patented the most advanced swing analysis technology in golf. Simply, the algorithms detect your body position and then analyze your golf swing using their artificial intelligence technology. The AI captures all the relevant data from your swing video and then presents you a personalized lesson. Golf Boost AI is the ultimate swing analysis and virtual instruction system for golfers of all ages and abilities. This sophisticated software takes into consideration your height and build, playing level, and returns the ideal solution for your swing. Bottom line, Golf Boost AI is an incredibly convenient and cost-effective tool for golfers to improve their swing. Go to golfboost.com and check it out. The app is free to download and try. Visit golfboost.com today.
All right, we are back, everybody, finishing up the show with our special guest, Robin SYMES, who you could find hanging out at the world headquarters of David Ledbetter in Kissimmee, Florida, which is right outside of Orlando. Really, really a nice facility. Robin, have you had the chance to play the golf courses at Reunion?
Yeah, believe it or not since I moved here. Well, I have played them, but not that often. But I actually brought a group of students here from Korea back in 2009 and 2010 for a couple of months. I was on the courses every day back then. But it's a really great place to come and play and practice, because you've got You got the Palmer course, Watson course, and Nicholas course, and it's a
Right.
perfect blend because the Palmer, it's a great course, a little more friendly off the tee, and scoreable. You got Nicholas, which is just like every Nicholas course tortures you, small greens and difficult when you miss the greens. And then you got the Watson somewhere in the middle. So it's whether you're a social golfer coming just wanting to play different courses, you got to do that all in one venue, or whether you're somebody wanting to train and really get better at the golf.
Right.
Have those Friday courses is really good.
Yeah, no, it's a great facility. Robin, what's the hardest part and the easiest part of teaching golf in your view?
I'll start with the hardest. Hardest is that we just make people feel uncomfortable. That's our job. There's almost nothing you can do that doesn't feel slightly awkward, even
Right.
if it's just tweaking somebody's thumb position on the club. It makes them feel awkward for a moment. So the hardest part is that almost anything you do makes people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Easiest part, don't know if I've found that yet, but I don't want to say the easiest part. The most enjoyable part is just seeing somebody who had a slice hit their first draw,
Yeah.
or vice versa. So that's probably the most fun part. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if it's easy all the time, but yeah, there's difficult part, making people uncomfortable, and then fun.
Yeah.
People hit their best shots.
No, that's a good answer. I like that. When I was there with Jamie, and like I say, we were having a great day. David was talking, and he asked the question to everybody there: what do you think? What, in your opinion, is the most important part of the golf swing? And you've got multitudinous answers from everybody. And I think I was pretty damn close when I said, in my view, it was, the combination of working the body with the arms and hands in the takeaway. I was close, but I didn't exactly nail it. But he said that in his view, it was the club head moving just a little bit in the backswing, and from there just letting everything else happen. And he has a training aid that's coming out pretty soon that a lot of people know about, which I think is fantastic. Can you expound on that for our viewers as far as what he means, the 9 o'clock position and that type of thing in the takeaway? Because I agreed with him totally after he explained it.
I mean, yeah, first, just to build on that, what separates David from most is that, if you go back to his original book, the Golf Swing book, correct, I'm sorry if my date is wrong, but let's say it's 1984 or something. And you go and you look at that book, and then you watch him teach today. There's virtually no difference at all, which is kind of incredible. 40 years, and his philosophies have developed, but it's ultimately the same sort of philosophy. And if you look at that book, The Move Away, how there's the body kind of initiates the movement.
Yep.
First movement, hands are a little bit in, club head are slightly out, and then if you watched him give a golf lesson 20 years ago, you would have heard him say the same thing. And if you watched him today in the room teaching people, he would be saying the same thing. So almost going back to what we said at the beginning of the show, most golf coaches, if you go and have a lesson off them today and then have the same lesson off the instructor 2 months later, they've completely changed their philosophy depending on what thing they saw on Instagram. David's like he's been in a good way, right? In a time warp that he's got his philosophy and he's absolutely stuck to it. And I just, he's been my mentor. We have to be above the waves, and it's almost as more the time goes on, the things David has talked about his whole life, that's what you're seeing the sort of the younger coaches talking about and people starting to accept. So it's sort of incredible to see that.
Yep.
And I say he's just, if you got in a room for David 10 minutes, what he just wants to see people doing is having good basics, holding the club well, getting in the fingers, and then having a good start to the swing, And his brain never stops to try to help people do that.
Right.
And I think recently, over the last year or so, he came up with a very simple training aid that just attaches to the club shaft, which will give people that visual feedback of as if are they making a proper start to their swing. And people might say, proper start, what's that? Everybody swing the clubs differently and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
Well, it's really not the case. If you have a look at a typical driving range of elite players, actually the way they start the swing is very similar.
Mm-hmm.
You see the odd standout person, but how they move off the club ball is very similar. They kind of initiate with their body, hand stays, a little bit of connection, club head stays in front of the hands. Yeah, we see some people bringing it up then a little steeper and dropping it in. We see some people then letting it go a little earlier, being more on plane. But actually, how they get the club moving is very, very similar.
Yeah.
I mean, my story about David is, I was sitting in the bay with him a few months ago, and we were talking about something else, and he pulled out his phone and he said, look, I was sitting on the back of a driving range the other day, and I saw this guy hitting balls, and he videoed this guy. And he said, I went up to him and just said, you're struggling, right? At that moment, I just kind of laughed to myself. I thought, I was trying to put myself in the shoes of the guy hitting balls. The guy just went down to a local driving range to hit some balls. Some guys come up to him and tried to help him, and it was David. But to me, that just shows how he just wants to help people hit the ball better.
Yeah.
His mind has never stopped. Has never stopped about trying to help people swing it better, hit it better, and do it in a simpler way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's called a straightaway, by the way, and it's a couple of months, and it'll be low cost, simple, and I think something most of us will get something from.
Absolutely, because it's correct. You start the club, properly, the backswing properly. A lot of stuff is going to take care of itself, and that's very, very important. So when you come in Las Vegas, when are we going to play some golf, Robin?
Yeah, I did a winter camp in Las Vegas one year, Reflection Bay.
Reflection Bay, beautiful.
Yeah, so that was spent a couple of months there.
Yep.
It was great. It was great. A little chilly for a few weeks, but I think we generally had a good winter, not like this year, from what I know.
Yeah.
But really enjoyed it. So like I hope I hope there's an invite. I hope there's a way I can get over. I hope there's a trade show, something happening. There's an excuse to head back there.
Yep, you're invited. So anytime, we'd love to have you come out. We got some good courses here, as you know, and that would be absolutely terrific. Robin, thank you so much for your time. I know that you have a busy schedule. We appreciate you coming on. All the best to you. Please give my best to Led for me. And we're going to have you back sooner than later. I thank you.
Anytime. Dennis. Thank you.
Thank you. Robin SYMES, everybody. Terrific guy. All right, one more short commercial. We'll come back, finish up the show. Stay with us. Hi, I'm Dennis Overs, host of the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers, and I'm here to tell you about some great wedges and putters from Grindworks USA. First, the Grindworks Barrett Collection Wedge Set. These wedges are unparalleled in today's market. The wedges come to you in 3 different lofts, 51, 57, and 61 degrees, all designed to be able to spin around the greens with the ability to hit high, middle, or low shots around the greens. Grindworks also makes a line of their Windsor Wells precision machine putters. This beautiful design of putter was not only created to be appealing to the eye, but to perform better on the greens. You will gain a ton of confidence to help lower your scores. Go to grindworksusa.com or call 281-651-4046. I promise your scores will love you for it. right, welcome back, everybody. Next week's show is going to be fantastic. We're going to put together a lot of the interviews that Jamie McWilliams and I did at the PGA Merchandise Show. I think you're really going to enjoy that. We liked very much going back to Orlando and seeing a full house, so to speak, and like a lot of friends and all that stuff. So for Robin Symes, I'm Dennis Silvers, and we wish you keep it in the short stuff and nothing but fairways and greens, everybody. We'll see you next time. So long.